White House as to how that proceeds.
Michael Mukasey, former Attorney General of the United States, thank you for being here. I want to give equal time now to former Clinton White House counsel Lanny Davis to Iowa this morning to support his Yale Law School classmate, Secretary Clinton. Lanny, respond to the judge.
I've been a great fan of the judge, shared a platform with him, and he's a great lawyer, former Attorney General, but it is shocking and almost unethical if he were actually a judge to pronounce the possibility of guilt without a trial or without an indictment and without a fact. All the caveats of speculative statements by my respect for the judge here is somewhat diminished, that he would speculate about somebody committing a crime before an investigation is complete, before an indictment, and before a trial. So let me state 3 facts that he can't dispute. Fact 1 is there were no designations on those emails, and they didn't originate from her. He speculates that she removed designations, and the only example he gave, which is a fact, were talking points sent to her, and she said, send it to me as a non-paper because they're talking points that I want to use, and the fax machine isn't working. A non-paper meaning unofficially they were talking points. The other one we know about is what is retroactively, another fact, this is retroactive judgments 2 or 3 years later, that something at the time that wasn't designated classified should be designated. The only one that I've read about was a report in the New York Times on Pakistan use of drones that you and I and the public read about, and 3 years later the Inspector General is asserting, with the wisdom of whatever hindsight he has, that a New York Times report should be designated classified. Apart from that, the other 22, we don't know, neither the judge nor I, whether it's of the same nature of overclassification that we've seen through the years by a New York Times report that reports drones and is referenced in an email, and 3 years later the Inspector General says that should be classified. And fact 3, the New York Times withdrew any assertion that the criminal investigation was about Hillary Clinton. The Justice Department withdrew. For the judge to speculate that there's a criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton, as opposed to an argument on mishandling between the State Department and the intelligence community, which is what we now know this FBI investigation is about, and the New York Times specifically published the headline and withdrew the very charge or speculation that the judge made on the air. All speculation, all ifs, all necessarities, all possibilities. I'm somewhat surprised,
Lanny?
I know the judge's political leanings, that he would speculate on television that someone might have committed a crime.
Lanny, I've looked at the email that the judge has shown to me where Secretary Clinton says, turn it into non-paper with no identifying heading and send non-secure. How do we know that this is the only time that she did that?
Well, we don't know, and I wouldn't speculate that somebody has committed a crime on national television, which is why I consider the former Attorney General's comments as unethical for a lawyer. You can speculate, you're a pundit. You wouldn't speculate that Michael Smerconish may have committed a heinous crime, because that would be irresponsible. So it's all speculation. But as far as that particular one, which I'm glad you mentioned again, we now know, even though Hillary Clinton has asked all of these emails to be published, and they haven't been, that one involved talking points that couldn't possibly have been considered classified. Her fax machine was not working. She and her campaign have explained that one, sent by Jake Sullivan, was supposed to be sent to her. She couldn't get it. She said, put it on a fax. But she didn't ever say remove classified designations. The judge is speculating, and speculation is improper.
Let me ask a basic question, because I don't want to lose people in the weeds. It's against the law for officials to discuss classified information on unclassified networks. It's actually pretty straightforward. Isn't that what she did here?
She categorically denied that, and the only basis for your asking the question is pure speculation, and now we know, politically motivated. Do you think it's a coincidence, Michael, that we're talking about this on the Saturday morning before the Iowa caucuses? Do you think it's a coincidence that the IG McCullough sent a letter to Senator Grassley, who, after leaking this material from the IG, then appears with Donald Trump in Iowa? Do you think it's coincidence that one of the top officials of the IG's office was involved in a prosecution of Hillary Clinton, and that he denied it to Politico, and now he has to admit it? This is about raw politics the way Whitewater was, and you should know better.
Well, come on. It's a legitimate inquiry. I think it's fair for me to be asking these questions.
Legitimate inquiry for a journalist, but you should know that this is about politics. That we're talking about.
I want to be fair to everybody.
Saturday morning before the Iowa caucuses.
You've been sitting here shaking your head. I'm way over time. They're telling me get out of the segment. What is it you want to say?
All of this is based on facts that have emerged. So far as her saying that she wants this stuff published, she knows it's not going to be published because it's all top secret. So it's sort of like a guy in a bar who gets in an argument and waits until his friends have grabbed him good and tight and then says, let me at him.
Sir, rebuttal, Lanny, quick.
The Attorney General hasn't named a single fact to lead to a speculation that someone is in criminal trouble. I think the man has been a great man. I respectfully suggest if you were a judge, you would be conducting something unethical to offer an opinion based upon no evidence, no fact that someone might have committed a crime. I really think you should rethink being willing to do that, Your Honor.
The facts are that there were literally thousands of classified emails on her server that didn't get there.
According to one person's opinion, the State Department disagrees with that, Attorney General.
They weren't put there by the Tooth Fairy.
The State Department does not agree with what you just said.
There are not thousands of newspaper articles that were classified.
Admit that the State Department disagrees with what you just said.
I do have to
get out.
The FBI
does not investigate a dispute between two agencies.
You're
the
acting
FBI
like a partisan
crimes.
voice here, Your Honor, and I'm quite disappointed.
I've got no interest in having her indicted.
I need to adjourn.
I'd like to see her.